what is actually dividend policy? If someone can brief me out about this. Anyone? Purva, Sakshi, what is dividend?
Sir, dividend is a part of profit that is shared by the company shares for the shareholders.
Very good. Dividend is a part of the profit which is distributed to the shareholders of the company, and it is actually the return on the capital invested by the shareholders to purchase the shares of the company. So, company, as I have told you, is having four types of decision making which is done. The first is your investment decision. Second, we have studied about the financing decision. We have already studied about the capital and this working capital decisions before. And the last decision which is remaining and which is also again foremost important is the dividend decision. See, there are two types of shares a company has. One is called preference shares and another one is the equity shares. In case of preference shares, the dividends policy is not that much required because in case of preference shares, dividend is nothing but more or less a contractual liability, and it is payable on a fixed rate. At the same time, the problem is with there are various factors which are to be considered for to declare the dividend for the equity shareholders, because the residual profits after paying off interest, taxes, preference shares, the remaining profit belongs to the equity shareholders. So now there is a problem with the company that how much dividend to declare and how much to retain. The earnings of the companies can be divided into two parts. One is called dividends, which are declared by the company, and these are actually declared also in two forms. One is cash and other is kind. Kind is in the form of bonus shares which are issued to the company. Cash dividend actually provides the liquidity to the shareholders. At the same time, it results in the payout from the company. So there is a complete, you can say, a dilemma sometimes that if the company is going for some investment in the near future, should it declare dividend or not? Should it consider, because if the dividend will be declared, at the same time the company is looking forward for the investment in the near future, the money which will result in the payout will not otherwise will be available to the company for considering the investment decisions. So at the same time, if the company has to declare a dividend and if it declares dividend, then the additional payment is to be procured from the general public again or from any other source in order to finance its investments which the company has thought of. So dividend at that time also works as an input for you can say for financing the company's needs. So it is a very important to just see that to what extent the dividend should be given, or to what extent the dividend should be declared and how much to be retained. So in this context, if we see, so there are two school of thoughts. One is called that dividend is relevant because what the thing is, when you declare the dividend, the shareholders use this dividend to invest it somewhere else also. And at the same time, if you retain the profits or you do not declare the dividend, this can be treated as a reinvestment in the company itself. And the other school of thought says that whether you declare the dividend or not, it is irrelevant, because they assume that dividend, if not declared, will keep reinvested in the company, and for the sake of the current dividend, the shareholders will get higher dividend in the near future. So the shareholders are indifferent about whether you pay dividend now or pay dividend afterwards. Now, at the same time, the school of thought which says that the dividend is relevant, actually, they consider the market price of the share to be attached with the dividends. That if the dividend is declared, it will directly affect the market price of the company or market price of the shares of the company. and accordingly the value of the firm is decided. So basically in this particular chapter, which is a very small one, we will be understanding that both the theories, and we will be able to do some practical questions also to understand that how the dividend policy actually works. But before starting this, there are certain things which this chapter will address, that what dividend decisions and how the dividend policy is to be taken. Another is this dividend relevant to calculate the value of the firm, or otherwise what is the relationship between the dividend declared or dividend retained with the value of the firm. And further is how dividend may be considered as a irrelevant. When is the position when the dividend will be said to be irrelevant? And further, what is actually the practice which is adopted by the companies these days. So this entire dividend policy chapter is actually divided into two parts, chapter 15 and chapter 16. I have posted both the material to you, which is nothing but a scan of the book which you have already purchased, RP Rustogi. So moving further with with this, we just come to the relevance of dividend policy. This is given on page number 462 on the right hand side column. So in this particular portion, you will be able to understand that what are the various. There are two basic models on which dividend policy is based on. Then how the firm should pay dividend and why it is, and at what time it should pay dividend is discussed in this. So if you see it from this point of view, uh, what is the basic argument which actually tells that a dividend policy is relevant is that the current cash dividend reduce the investors' uncertainty. What happens when you give current cash to them, because they are also looking forward for the investment. So if you just pay off the return on the investment, they will, what they will do, they will just investor will discount the firm's earnings at certain rate, which is nothing but the cost of capital. So if you are declaring the dividend at that time, what is relevant is that what is your internal rate of return. So internal rate of return, if it is higher, then it is advisable not to because internal rate of return of the company is higher, then it is better to reinvest the money in the company itself, otherwise than given it to be given it to the shareholders. So there are two models given by Walter and Gordon. So on page number 463, you can see Walter's model is given, and there is a formula given for Walter's model on the right hand side. That is P is equal to D upon KE plus R divided by KE, E minus D divided by KE. So there it comprises of two components. One is D divided by KE. This particular component actually represents you can say the dividend part, means what is the payout. The payout of the dividend is determined by this model. So this particular actually gives you about the infinite stream of dividend which will be paid by the company throughout. And the second portion you can see on along with this is the present value of infinite stream of the return from the retained earnings. So the price of P is nothing but the market price of the equity share. So market price of the share actually depends on the dividend. So this particular school of thought considers that the dividend declared will affect the market price of the company. So at the same time, P is the market price, D is the dividend paid by the firm, R is the rate of return on the investment, or you can say IRR, the internal rate of return. This R is the internal rate of return. So KE is the cost of equity share capital, and E is EPS, or you can say earning per share. So if you see E minus D is what? Earning minus dividend. So this is the retention. If you see E minus D, this is the retention, and retention is again multiplied by the difference amount of return and KE, the differential of return upon KE upon whole upon KE. So this particular portion is actually nothing but the profits on the retained earnings, whereas the first portion, that is D upon KE, is nothing but the dividend payout. So both of these will affect the price of the share, that is P. So it is given under over here. So for using this formula in different situations, we would like to calculate that how this is affecting the price of the company, or you can say price of the shares of that company. Just see example number 15.1. EPS is the earning per share, which is 10 constant. It is given. There is a cost of equity capital, that is KE 0.10 is which is constant again. So you have to find out the market price of the share under 3 situations. Actually, these are 9 situations. So 8%, 10%, 15% if rate of return is this, and for different payout ratios 0%, 40%, 80%, and 100%. So 3 into 4. So 12 calculations you may have to go for. So the market price of the shares in the Walter model may be calculated using the formula of the Walter model, and in the different, just you put the formula P is equal to K D upon KE. So in first situation, if you see what is in the first situation, it is given that dividend you have declared is rupees, that is 40% is the dividend, that is 4 rupees, and KE is given by 0.10, or you can say 10% is the cost of equity. Okay, so further R is the rate of return, the internal rate of return of the company, which is coming to be 0.15, or you can say 15%, 15% divided by 10%, and E minus D. Total earning of the company, or you can say earning per share is 10 rupees, and dividend declared is rupees 4. Divide by KE, you will get the market price of the share, or the price of the share in the market. You can say this is the current price. Similarly, if 8% is the dividend payout, the payout ratio, and the payout ratio is 80%, you can accordingly calculate this, and this will come to 96. Now here it is coming to be 130, and this is coming to be 96. Now why this is happening and how this is happening? This is happening just because of, if the internal rate of return, now if you see the entire table and the market price under the Walters model for the different combinations are given, where the dividend payout ratio is given and the internal rate of return R company is given. So if you see here, and what we have considered constant is, there are two things which we have considered as a constant one, that is cost of equity. Okay, so that is considered to be a constant one. Now see here, R is 15%, here 10% and 8%. At 0 payout ratio, 0 dividend payout ratio is 0 means, what is dividend payout ratio 0 means 100% is retained. So when the internal rate of return is high, when the internal rate of return is higher than that of the KE, cost of equity is 10%, internal rate of the company itself is earning more than what is the cost of equity. It means if the company if the company will declare the dividend, that money will go out in the hands of the shareholder, but they will not be able to invest it in a manner more justifiable or more beneficial for them as the company itself. Why? Because the internal rate of return of the company is 15%. And the cost of equity is only 10%. So in that case, the market will give you a signal that the company has taken a good decision, and therefore the market price of the share at that time will be very, very high. Just imagine, just consider the second next column where the R is equal to 10. So here R is 10%, cost of equity is also 10%. So whether you declare dividend or not hardly matters, because both the ways the shareholder will be getting equal returns. So that's why here it is constant, because the R is just equal to cost of equity. But at the same time, if the R is less and you are retaining, means R is 8% and your dividend payout ratio is 0%, means you are not paying any dividend, everything is retained. So the company itself will generate only 8%, whereas the cost of capital, or you can say cost of equity, is 10%. So at that time, the rate will be, or you can say the price of the share will be low. So this particular model is applying the formula. You can just calculate and justify this in this way. So this was about the Walters model. So there is some critical appraisal of Walters model also, which is actually based on the assumptions on which it has done. So please just go through it yourself. And I am further coming to the Gordon's model. Now this Gordon's model is having two things more than the Walters model. Number one is that it considers the growth, that the growth rate of the firm G is a product of the retention ratio and the rate of return. So, and there is a justification behind this also, that why it is considered as a growth. See, the company itself is generating a return which is called internal rate of return, or R. So more you will retain, the company will multiply it according to its own function of return, that is R. So BR will be the growth, the rate at which the company will be growing will depend on how much it has retained multiplied by the rate of return. Next is the cost of capital beside the constant is more than the growth of rate. This is again one more assumption, that growth rate is means cost of capital is always more than the company's growth. So these are the two assumptions which they have taken, and accordingly they have come up, or Gordon has come up with one formula which is P is equal to E 1 minus B divided by KE minus BR. So it takes care of the where P is the market price of the equity share, E is the earning per share of the firm, 1 minus B, or you can say B is the retention ratio, or 1 minus B will be the payout ratio. So here, if it is earnings 1 minus B, what does it means? 1 minus B is payout ratio. So earning multiplied by payout ratio, this is the dividend which has been given. So E into 1 minus B is nothing but the D. So the D which we have considered in the Walters model, it is equal to E into 1 minus B. So where B is the retention ratio, R is the rate of return, similar as that of before, and K is the cost of equity. And B into R, if you want, you can replace it by G also. In some books it is given as G. So B into R is G. So this is the formula which has been given by Gordon. And accordingly, we have some problems to be done with the Gordon model too. So following information, I think again the similar information is there. Yes, same information is there. So EPS is 10 rupees 10 per share. Cost of capital is 0.10. Now with the help of this Gordon formula, you have to calculate the price of the share, or you can say market price of the share. So in first situation where R is 15% and payout ratio is 40%, and accordingly the retention ratio, it can be calculated as P is equal to 400. So just you have to put the things over here. E is EPS, earning per share 10 rupees, and retention ratio is given over here as 0.4. So payout ratio will be 0.6. So 10 into this will give you the actual that how much the company is retaining. So here again, the company is retaining more. Payout ratio is 40%. So a company is retaining, and accordingly 400 is the price. In the same way, in the other situation, the things are put in the formula, and 95 is the price which is coming up. So here, if you see the dividend payout ratio, DP ratio has been given, and accordingly it is DP ratio is payout ratio. So opposite will be the retention ratio. So more payout ratio. Now see, this is more rigorous. Here the firm is at a zero payout ratio, where the rate of return is sufficiently high. The price of the shares is almost zero. So accordingly, so there will be two methods you may be asked in the examination to just calculate the price of the shares according to both of the formulas. You have to do that. And if you see, if R is equal to KE, that is 10%, again it seems to be same, that is 100 in all the situations. So this is the relevance dividend policy. So irrelevance, if dividend is irrelevant dividend is another school of thought on the dividend policy and valuation of the firm, which argues that what the firm pays as dividend to the shareholders is irrelevant, and shareholders are indifferent about receiving. Means even if whatever dividend you pay, either you pay the dividend or not pay the dividend, there will be no effect on the market price. It says like that. So this advocates this the advocates of this school of thought argue that the dividend policy has no effect on the market price of the share. That's what I have already told you. So there is a school of thought about this also, and there are two theories. One is the residual theory of dividends, another is Modigliani and Miller approach. So these theoretical portions you can go through and just learn that what actually it is. Residual theory, actually I will just give an introduction. Residual theory actually says that as a dividend policy is irrelevant, whatever is residued will be distributed as a dividend. Now, when the dividend policy was relevant in Walter and Gordon model, first we decide how much we have to declare the dividend and remaining we retain. So here we are doing opposite. After paying off everything, whatever is to be retained is to be decided first, and the remaining will be paid. That is what is called residual theory of dividend. It means, and this theory assumes that there are no other source of finances from outside. Whatever is to be financed, it is to be done by the retained earnings. Means whatever if the company is going for an expansion, the expansion expenditure will be borne by the company only through its retained earnings, or you can say investment of retained earnings. It means that if the company is not thinking of expansion, it can declare all its profits as a dividend, no problem, because the company will be retaining the profits of the earned profits of the equity shareholders for financing. And if the financing plan is not there, the company may proceed further for declaration of the dividends itself. So this is the residual theory. Similar is the case with Modigliani and Miller approach also. And here again there is a formula to calculate the things. We will discuss it in the formula given, and you can just even go through this example that how they have calculated it and how they have done it. So this is an example given over here. A firm is paying a dividend of 3 rupees per share, having a capitalization rate of 15%, which will have a market price of rupees 20. That is 3 divided by 0.15, because whatever dividend is paid, it will be capitalized, or you can say it will be discounted by the capitalization rate. If it has 20,000 shares, the outstanding, or you can say if 20,000 shares are there on that date, the total value of the firm accordingly will be rupees 4 lakhs. Why? Because rupees 20 is the market value of the share according to this capitalization, and there are 20,000 outstanding shares. The value of the firm will be 4 lakhs. The total earnings of the firm will be 3 into 20,000, that is 60,000 rupees. And now suppose that the firm has an investment opportunity of 40,000. Now firm is having an investment opportunity of 40,000 rupees, and out of this 60,000 which the firm has earned, it retains 40,000 out of the available profits. So 60,000 are the profit, 40,000 is now available. This retention done, and distribution happens only for 20,000 to each shareholder. And if 20,000 are the total number of share, 1 rupee per share will be the profit which will be distributed. However, the profit available during the next year would be 60,000 again, because that will again be, because the firm will again be distributing the dividend. You can say the earning in the next year will be 60,000 plus the profit generated by the new investment, that is rupees 40,000. Matlab means the new investment which company has made out of retention of the profit is 40,000. Now that 40,000 is also generating return, and that return is 10,000. So in next year the company will be having total 70,000 to distribute. So 60,000 expected, and then further the increase in profit due to new investment which company has made is 10,000. Now the total profits in the next year will become 70,000, and total number of shares are 20,000. So if you divide, so dividend per share will become 3.50 in the next year. So this expected increase in the dividend from 3 to 3.5 will affect the market price of the share, which can be the present value of the dividend. So here, if you see what this formula is doing, the new price of the share will accordingly be adjusted. So the dividend which will be declared and the stream of dividend which will be declared in the near future are these. So 1 upon 1.15. This is what we are doing. This is we are discounting it with the discounting factor, that is 15%. That is the capitalization factor, and dividend in the next year will be 3.5 rupees. Again will be discounted and will be available forever. So at that time, the market price of the share will be 21.15 rupees. Now, if you see, there is an increase in the market price of the share from 20 rupees to 21.15 rupees. Now, when the firm has retained the profits and reinvested them in a profitable investment opportunity. Okay, so this is about. So what will now, if you see it from the point of view of shareholders also, you will find it again equally good. That what about the incomes of the shareholders? So again, for the incomes of the shareholder, there is a very easy calculation given over here, that how much they will be doing. So first year dividend is 2000, because they have got 1 rupee only, and dividend afterwards they have got 3.5 rupees at 2000. Means if somebody is having 2000 shares, then what will be his dividend? Previously it was 2000, now it is 7000. Now the shareholder is having a decrease in the income of rupees 4000, because at that time we have invested that income, because we have invested 40,000. So accordingly, a person who is having 2000 would have given 4000. So however, after this, and the income will increase by 1000 per annum. Then after, for sacrificing 4000 rupees, now the income has increased rupees 1000 per annum now, because 7000 minus, previously it was 6000, now it has become 7000. Now if he wants to maintain the cash flow in the form of income, he can do so. So accordingly, the share price at the year end will also get adjusted afterwards, which is 23.13. So further, if you just if he loses, or if he wants to, you can say, if he wants liquidity now, so he can sell the shares at certain price, and how much shares he will be able to sell? 172. This is a calculation. That's not that much relevant, but still for your own sake, that what will happen to the shareholder, his income, you can study this particular example, which has for which the calculation has been done from the shareholder's point of view also. So this is how it is done. In Modigliani and Miller approach, again there are certain assumptions which are to be considered, and accordingly there is a formula by which you can calculate the price of in this case too. So this is P0 1 upon 1 plus K into D1 plus P1, where P0 is the present market price of the share, KE is the cost of equity share capital, D1 is the expected dividend at the end of year 1, and P1 is the expected market price, because it actually is considering not only the current dividend, but also the capital gains in the near future. So both the things are being considered in Modigliani and Miller approach. So further, the examples are given how the prices are coming up, how the prices are changing from 105 to 110. You can just go through these, and you can just understand it. Finally, what we have to do is our illustrations. Now these are the three formulas which will be used in this chapter for solving the questions. So here, these things are given to you, which I have already explained you. So illustration 1 is on Walters formula. So payout ratio is given to you, and accordingly situations of 3 companies are given. So what will be the dividend payout ratio and what will be the market price of the share, you have to calculate, and accordingly you have to conclude. So you may have to write a you can say a conclusion out of this table which you have formed. So in that case, you can see that KE is equal to R. At that time, the price of the share will remain constant. If KE is less than R, then this situation will happen. If KE is more than R, because KE is more and R is less, so situation B will be there. Will be there. If the R is more, because the company's rate of return is more, at that time the company will generate more return, and accordingly the prices will grow at different payout ratio. It means that when the R is more payout ratio will generate more profit, and accordingly more price in the market will be there. So questions are given to you. This is on the Walters and Gordon's model both. And these all I expect you all to do. So again, those who have submitted their assignments by the time is okay. And now for these also, I would be expecting at least 10 questions from this, because this is very simple. You can do it, not that much time consuming. So 10 questions from this chapter, and again 5 questions from the next chapter, which we'll be studying again now itself. So this particular question is on the MM approach. This formula is being given and accordingly the price is being calculated. Right, so any problem in this chapter? I hope there is nothing to be problemsome, because there are 3 straightforward, clear-cut formulas given, and accordingly you have to apply the formula in order to get your answers. Yes, anyone, anything else regarding this? If something you're not able to understand, you can tell me. Yeah. Abhinav Chandel, you are doing very good in quizzes. So anything you would like to ask?
No, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Riya Agarwal,
Yes, sir.
anything?
No, sir.
Ashi, Anish, where is
No,
Ashi?
sir.
No, sir.
Okay, okay. So I hope you are enjoying quizzes also, understanding the things over here, and then afterwards doing the question. Yashwin, anything you would like to ask? Priyam, I hope you are here, but your mic not be working. It's okay. But I would request you to just arrange for the mic soon. Pratik. Pratik, are you there?
Hello.
हाँ प्रतीक.
नहीं सर, कोई डाउट नहीं. थैंक यू.
Fine. Purva. Purva. Lakshya. Vardhani is there or not? Vardhani.
Hello. Yes, sir.
Purva. Purva, you are there? Any doubt?
Yes, sir. No, sir.
Okay, fine. Vardhani is not there.
Sorry, sir. वो मेरा ना माइक काम नहीं कर रहा था.
अच्छा, कोई बात नहीं बेटा.
Yes, sir.
वर्धिनी गुप्ता. वर्धिनी गुप्ता माइक काम कर रहा है कि नहीं? हिमांशु. देवराज.
यस सर.
Yes, sir.
यस सर.
Yes, sir.
ठीक है, so I will start my next class in next 2 minutes. Okay, so that class will be particularly on your this again the dividend decision, the next portion it is. So it is again more or less theoretical. So let us finish it off today itself, and there are some questions also which are very general one. So you can do it also, and then afterwards. So chapter 16, I'm just starting. I'm just starting it in next 2 minutes. Okay.